Hey guys, what's going on? It's Alex from Fitment Industries, and I have a very special guest. I have
Jesse Hemans with BBS of America.
BBS. It's the real guys. It's the real. They got the polo with the stitching. It's so awesome. And we are here to bring. I'm so excited. We are here to bring you 10 questions that we're asking BBS. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Have you been in front of the camera often?
Not as often as you.
Yeah, I know, it's kind of weird. But that's okay, let's get into it. I got my fancy phone here. It's an iPhone, because I switched to Android, but we're not going to talk about it. Who are you, and what do you do for BBS?
I am the VP of Sales and Marketing for BBS. My role at BBS is multifaceted. I work with our marketing team, I work with our dealers, I create programs that make us function, I prospect for new business, I manage and work with companies that want sponsorship. I work with companies that do all the event and activities that we participate in, because BBS now wants to get very involved in the community and be a part of what's happening in the aftermarket scene.
Cool. So you also make me eat fresh, because Jesse, when we went to lunch, she's like, can we eat somewhere fresh? So I didn't get to have my Panda today, but instead we had Freshie, which is very exciting. But with that being said, everybody actually is gonna wanna know, what do you drive?
You know, you're going to be a little disappointed, because I know you wanted to.
Yeah, I wanted to.
You wanted me to drive a Porsche.
Yeah,
and I'd love to be driving
did.
a Porsche myself,
Yeah.
but the real truth is, I drive an Audi S4, a B9 chassis. I love the car. It's a lot of fun to drive. It's got BBS wheels on it, and then some.
That would be really weird. What's your favorite thing to do at BBS or with BBS?
I enjoy the engagement with customers.
Okay.
I really like the relationship that we've forged over the years, and I like meeting a lot of the new people that we've brought on board to work with our brand. So I'm a people person, and I like engaging customers and consumers alike.
Sure. What would you say is like the most common misconception people have about BBS all the time?
BBS doesn't make anything new.
Well, I said that. That was me. I said that.
It's really a misconception, because a lot of people are so in love with what BBS used to be as an old brand of RSs and RCs, and I see a lot of people rebarrel them and reuse them all over again. The real truth is, over the last several years, we've made a lot of new products. So the misconception that I hear all the time is that we don't make anything new, or what we make is boring.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny, because what we make is supposed to be boring in the eyes of a lot of people, but when I look around the automotive industry, especially in the wheel space, many companies have copied BBS's products.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
okay, and what really shocks me is that people buy those new copied products and they go, oh wow, this is really cool. And I go, but we've had that product out forever.
Yeah.
So
I feel so, I'm just gonna skip that. I'm not even gonna talk about it. I'm not even gonna talk about it. But anyway, what is the biggest change in the wheel market you've seen since being involved with BBS?
The wheel market is filled with companies that know nothing about wheels, that literally design product and have them built offshore for them. And through marketing expertise and social media, many of these companies go on to form successful companies. There are hundreds of companies in the US that follow no regulation whatsoever, and it's a bit of a risk to the consumer who are buying those type of products. So I'd like to see that change.
Do you go throw hands in the back alleyways at SEMA when you see these new companies come out?
Yes, I do.
You start
It's like, oh God, there's another one of those companies out there.
So what's one quirky thing? What's one thing that was different for when you started working at BBS that you're just like, huh, that's different?
You know, BBS is still very old school, and for me that's a little quirky, because I'm a forward-moving guy, and I look to what's going on with today's youth and look for a lot of input from them. But we are still kind of a quirky company in that everything is very rigid in terms of production, design, and engineering. Now, as far as the direction we're going with marketing, with sales, with what we're doing with customers, we've definitely gotten out of that quirky space.
You guys got an Instagram now?
We have an Instagram,
you have a YouTube now?
YouTube,
This is
Facebook.
exciting times. This is exciting times. I love it. What is your favorite application for BBS wheels?
We do a ton of applications for BMW. We somehow are joined by the hip with the BMW community, because we've been around that particular brand of car space for so long. Porsche is a great lineup also that we do great applications for. We have great relationships, not only with the factory, but the Porsche owners, because they know they can trust our brand. Volkswagen, Mercedes, Audi, all of those European brands are core for BBS.
That's true. That's a very exciting thing. What would be the next big thing then for BBS?
The next big thing, we're about to celebrate the company's 50th year in business. So we're working on all the planning for what we're going to do this year at SEMA. Although we've been in the truck wheel space in the past, we sort of like vacated that space over the last 10, potentially 15 years. Looking around the US market today, the truck industry is huge. So we're looking to do everything we can to get BBS back in that space, and that's the next big thing BBS is going to get into.
So we have our E30, our BMW E30 that has like 70 horsepower. We will not name names, but turned it into a non-functional vehicle for a while. Then we turned it back into a functioning vehicle. We took it to a drag strip. We did some stuff with it. It's on BBS wheels, but they're rebarreled. So BBS, you know, how do you feel about people taking old BBS wheels and like turning them into big show wheels or changing them around like that?
You know, it's always like a compliment when you see a company or an individual rebarrel BBS and use it. But there's always that risk factor that we worry about because our brand name is tied into a product that does not meet the standards that we like to produce our products at. So I'm not always happy and warm and fuzzy about it, but the marketing side of me is pleased to see that the brand has those type of legs. But at the same time, there's a little bit of apprehension on whether or not we can trust whoever is doing the rebarreling of the product. You know, at the end of the day, the companies that are doing the rebarrels, some reach out to us and they look to us to follow the proper procedures to do the job right. Those companies we know will always do it right. There are a lot of companies out there that don't do it right and they pose a risk to the consumer that's buying that product. So we don't love it, but at the same time, we don't dismiss it.
Wait, I love your neutrality about it. We like it. We would prefer if you didn't because we're really good at doing it. But like it's there, you know, it happens, and that's okay. The good news is he said at the end of the day, and all the people on YouTube give me so much slack for saying at the end of the day. Now you said it, which means BBS and Alex talk the same way. So I'm pretty much clean and clear and under control forever. I don't ever have to worry about it again. But last question: if there was ever to be anything that you would want to tell the Fitment Industries community from BBS, what would it be?
I've just come to know Fitment Industries as a company. And in the short time we've known this company, I've come to realize one thing, in that they're real. They're not a company that takes anything lightly. I love the fact that Fitment Industries is about education, because a brand like BBS requires a company that can educate the consumer market to understand the value of quality. You know, long-term quality is far more important to what we do as a company and what we produce than just styling and short-term. A lot of companies don't do any education, and we've been kind of guilty of that over the last several years, but we've changed the way we're doing business, and it's great to be in a relationship with a company that really is all about education and making sure the consumer is informed about what they're buying. This company has a lot of other branches that I've come to work with, and I'm very pleased that they're doing a great job for the BBS brand.
Yeah, you guys like that? There you go, boom. And if you guys are actually looking for BBS wheels, we have them on the website too. So there's the sales plug, fitmentindustries.com. Thank you, Jesse, for making your way in front of a camera and allowing me to ask you some questions. You gotta be careful, you know. Don't want to ask you, you know, what your favorite Porsche is, because that has nothing to do with Fitment Industries. So we're gonna ask it after this. But I'm Alex from Fitment Industries. Jesse, anything else?
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll see you guys later. Peace.